Hi and welcome back to the channel. So today I am going to have a look at the Wavestation, and if you watched my earlier video on the plugin boutique deal, you can get this for 50 quid instead of 100. So you can get the Wavestation and the M1 for the same price. I just wanted to flag up something before I actually start having a look at this in Logic, is that everywhere you read it says that you get 1500 programs. Now that is not correct. If you buy the standalone version of the Wavestation, you only get 880 presets, so roughly half. It doesn't mention this anywhere, it only mentions 1500, but that is only if you buy the Korg Legacy Collection version of the Wavestation. So you get an extra 6 KLC packs, as they call them, which stands for Korg Legacy Collection. But you don't get that with this version, which would normally cost you £100. It's a bit of a pain, to put it mildly, that, you know, if you spent 100 quid, you're only going to get half the number of presets. You know, 1500 programs and 700 waveforms. Well, you don't get that. So yeah, so you get a total of 7 KLC cards. Well, you don't, you only get 1. That's a bit of a con. So if you go over to the Korg Collection 5, which is the latest one, it's £385, but that is for 17 plugins. I know it sounds expensive, but it is actually a very good deal, because the Wavestation and the M1 are actually the cheapest plugins at 100 quid. So most of them are 145. Some of them are over 200. You see, this is all the ones that you get. I mean, it's just like everything they do. So the ARP 2600, the Vox Continental, Micro Korg, the Electribe, Chaos Pad. We'll just have a look at the Triton. So that is 240 quid on its own. So that is why the collection, so it's not worth buying that when you can get the collection for 380. Let's just see, what's the 2600? 150. So like I said, they're all kind of different prices. The cheapest ones are definitely 100, and I think the Triton must be the most expensive. So it's certainly not worth buying them. And I will probably buy the M1. So it's a bit of a pain. I mean, it's going to cost me 100 quid just for 2, but I don't really want to spend 380 because I've got loads of versions of these in Arturia. So I've got loads of ARP Odysseys and MS20s and Poly 6s and Monopolys. So, but I don't have an M1 or a Wavestation. So I'll certainly get that as well, because it has some really cool features, and so does the Wavestation as well. So I thought I'd just flag that up before I actually start, because I think it's quite important, because you'll be wondering where the hell's all my presets, and you can see there. So these are all the RAMs and the ROMs and the cards that you got in the original Wavestation. So each one has 49. It was obviously something to do with the amount of RAM they had in 1990. Said each one has 49, so there's 18. Quickly work out that is not 1500. So you've got RAM 1, 2 and 3, and you've got ROMs 4 to 11, you've got cards 1 to 6, and then this is the 1 KLC one that you get, and there's 49 in that. So that's it. When you buy the collection, you'll get another 6 of those. And that apparently will take it up to 1500. So you can either search by card, like I said, or you can do a search and using all these parameters. I'm not going to play the first preset because it's awful. Ski Jam is just awful. The one thing that I'm a bit confused as to why they made this so big, because it's like actual size from a Wavestation. I'm using my S61 keyboard to control this. So it's CC 16 and 17 that you need if you actually want to program it. But it comes up on my default MIDI on the S61 anyway. So you can control it with that, obviously, or you can just drag it with a mouse. But why is it so big? So, because when you go into edit, which is where you spend most of the time, if they had made this smaller, we could have had all this information a lot bigger. This is how it differs from the Wavestate. So we get 8 parts in the Wavestation, and you can see this particular preset, which is awful, is made up of 6. And you can see these are your key zones. So I can play. So that is 2 and 3. So that's playing the mini. There's two instances of the mini. So they've obviously been tuned or something. So if you click on them, you can see what the difference is. So yeah, so one's levels 50, and then the other one's got delay added and that's about it. So like I said, you can change each of these. So that is your part level, is your volume, and then you've got things like sustain, polyphonic, so you can change these. And then you can have that disabled as well. And this is the same for whichever one that you click on, so that doesn't change. I'm going to do a deep dive later. I just want to let you hear what this sounds like, and then I'll do a full deep dive. You don't have to double click to load it as well, and it'll tell you up here where it is. So this is RAM 1. So if you click on any of these, they'll tell you where they are. So if I go to search and Synth Pad, if I click on various other ones, you'll see. So that's RAM 1, these are RAM 3, RAM 3, RAM 2, ROM 5. So yeah, so it tells you where they are. So the utility menu is purely just the size. So I'm in full, and there's not really much different. I thought extended was going to add something, but it doesn't. It just makes it even bigger. And then you've got your kind of settings here for your MIDI controller, and then this is where you're going to spend most of the time. So this is why I wish they had made this smaller and this bigger, because you do spend a lot of time, and you've got to kind of click and drag these, and they are quite small. So yeah, it would have been useful to make these a bit bigger. So for instance, you can take the bell chimes down so that I'm only going to play entropy, and then the bell chimes will come in. And for instance, the part level is 2, so it's basically hardly on. So we could bring it up, and then entropy's at full. So 99 is the full level, not 127. Don't ask me why. And you can see this is the effect. So it's got the quadrature chorus and the small hall EQ, and there's no arrow there, but you basically, to change these, you just click in them. So you've got 55 different effects. So everything from flangers to exciter, enhancers, phasers, rotary speakers. So it's a pretty good selection of reverbs from something from like 1990. So yeah, so you've got early reflections and gated reverbs, stereo delays. So yeah, so it's pretty cool. And so depending on which effect you pick, you'll get different. You can see those are completely different. So, and if you go say for distortion filter, you'll get different, and you can just drag these to change them. So anyway, so let's get down to playing some sounds. So I'll go to search and I'll go to Synth Pad. The other thing, which I don't know why is not being carried over, but you can actually preview this, but you have a choice of intro loop, ARP, basing chord, octave, or slow chord. So we'll start off with intro loop, and it just plays an intro. So you can just go through these, and if you leave it running, you can just switch. So we could switch to Chronos, and it'll keep playing. How cool is that? Why is that not a thing in like every VST? I mean, it makes Native Instruments previews a bit shit, doesn't it? So we could put slow chord on, and go back to Will I Dream. And it actually moves the mod wheel as well. So you can see it's actually programmed, it's moving the mod wheel. How cool. I said, why is that not a thing? And now you've also got a randomize. Now, that's not for the, I thought the randomize was for the vector position, but it's not. It just happens to be right below the vector. So that's really confusing, because I'm clicking it thinking, oh, it's going to change that, but it's not. It's randomizing the preset. Let's get this playing. And I think I need to turn the volume up a bit. So yeah, so this is Will I Dream. But it's very quiet. There's a Vox one. So if you ever want to see what it's made up of, you just click edit and you can see. So you've got pitch pad, 2 slow strings and an industrial. And you can see by the key zones that the industrial is only playing at C4 and down. So that's industrial there. So you get the strings and the pad up top. And this was the best thing about the wave state, just being able to split key zones, and it's so easy to do, and also velocity as well. So you can see the velocities being changed for the industrial. So yeah, very cool. End of Voltar is quite nice. So if I double click it, it'll open the editor. You can just click on these and get an idea of what is being done. So bell chimes is basically hardly on. The strings are 75, spectrum and choir is 20, so we could bring the choir up a bit and maybe put some delay on it. And then I can see what's going to happen. Sometimes there's nothing much happens with the joystick, it just depends how it's been programmed. Kronos, I've got to try Kronos, haven't I? Alright, what's that is? So this is this has the Will I Dream patch plus 3 others. So you've got a guitar. So that's split, as you can see there. So 2 and 3 are, so the time slice and guitar are up here, and Will I Dream and another time slice are at the bottom. So time slice, so the guitar's hardly on, and yeah, so we could take the guitar up a bit. That'd take it up quite a bit. Take it up to 50, and then time slice, we could take that full up. So you see how easy it is to play around with these. So we can put sustain on, and there's no delay on that, so you can put delay on as well. So yeah, very cool. That's the mod wheel up. We could have a look at a different category, and we could go to SE Complex, because there's some quite good ones in this. So there's one called Alien Dreams, and this has possibly one of the most complicated splits. So it's 6 parts, and as you can see, pretty much everything is split off. So we've got 2 and, what is that? 2 and 4? 2 and 3, yeah. So we've got 2 and 4 playing. So industrial and alter. I didn't read that. Ultra Invasion? Ultra Invasion, alright. So that's obviously quite quiet. And then we've got all sorts coming in. Glassbox, tambourines. One called Spitty. Whatever Spitty is. What the hell is Spitty? So yeah, that's one of the most complex ones, I think. Let's try Marsscape. So we've got Tubular, Enharma Star, and VS Wave 3. So you can see the waves has got delay on it and been transposed as well. There's no sustain, so we can put the sustain on. Let's see if the vector's doing anything. Right, and we could try some Synth Motion. So this China orchestra one, I quite like this one. We'll try this one. This is quite nice. I'll show you what it is. So it's got 2 of these. And then the orchestra and those strings come in down here. Quite cool. And then what else have we got? Oh, Midnight Run. I don't know. You're probably too young to remember the film Midnight Run, but it was very cool. Right. So we've got 6 parts in this, and it's split. So it's got 3 parts in, and then C4. It's completely different. So that'll be the tap drops and Spectrum 2 and Vocalize. Let's see if this is going to do anything. Not really. And Pressure Glass is quite cool. So that is Sea Glass. So yeah, for pads and kind of motions and all sorts of things like that, it's pretty good. I do like it, I have to say, and it's so easy to program using this rather than the hardware, because it would just be a nightmare. The screen's about the size of a matchbox. So yeah, so that is just kind of a quick look at the Wavestation. I'm going to go, let's say, I'm going to do a deep dive because there's quite a bit involved in saving the patches. As you've maybe noticed, there's no user bank. So you have to overwrite the RAMs. So it's not straightforward. I'm going to go over that in the next video. And as usual, if you are enjoying these videos, please like, subscribe, share and comment. And I will see you in the next one.